I speak for the trees have no tongues. The Lorax was published in 1971 by Dr. Seuss and is one of the most famous children's stories to date. To him, it was his favorite story that he wrote, and he wrote it in complete and utter anger. He was frustrated by the corporate greed and the utter destruction in the environment, and so he wrote this story about a young boy named Ted who goes and visits a once beautiful valley that had suffered at the hands of greed. There, Ted meets a creature known as the Onceler, and the Onceler is now living in self-imposed exile and tells Ted how he first arrived there. When he came, he discovered the beautiful truffula trees and decided that I'm going to set up shop. Once he starts to fell the trees for his products that he describes as sneeds, the Lorax questions the Onceler, saying, "You can't cut down our trees. What are you doing?" The Onceler's like, "Well, I'm just cutting down a couple. I'm just, I'm creating this sneed. It could be a sweater, it could be a hat, it could be anything." And the Lorax, not impressed, is like, "Look, this is our home. It's our environment. So many things rely upon these trees, the truffula trees that are here." And once the Onceler starts to sell his needs, his corporate greed kicks in. So he invites his family to come and start the business. And they start felling more and more trees. And through that industry, they start employing more and more people. They start polluting the air. And the Lorax is pleading with the Onceler, saying, "You can't do this. Like, the trees can't defend themselves. I am here to speak up for them." And he's just constantly dismissing the Lorax. Eventually, the Onceler employs over 100,000 employees, but the air is so polluted that the Swami swans can no longer sing in the sky, and the humming fish can no longer even hum in the water because everything is so polluted. The barbalet bears do not have food, so the Lorax is sending them away, and the Onceler's starting to regret his decisions, but at the same time, he kind of goes, "Well, if I didn't do it, someone else would." Because that justifies it. When the last tree is felled, the Lorax leaves, despite how many warnings he was giving to the Onceler, but he left a monument written in stone saying, "Unless." And now that the Onceler has realized what he's done in his foolishness and corporate greed, he pleads to the young boy Ted and gives him the last truffula tree seed and says, "Unless someone like you, who cares an awful lot, nothing is going to change. It's not." So Seuss is not the first writer to describe the complete and utter destruction of the environment. So another really good example is Tolkien, when the Shire is utterly destroyed in the last chapters of Return of the King, as well as when Saruman betrayed the woods and the Ents and started cutting down the trees. But unfortunately, we do not have Ents to defend the woods. But we do have everyone, because everyone can do something. Like, if we all just consumed less. Like, do you really need that cup of coffee every day from Tim Hortons? Or can you make it at home? Or can you just not drink coffee at all? That's an option. If everyone consumed less meat, or no meat at all, or no dairy at all. Like, I've been vegetarian since I was 15. Not trying to brag here, but just somebody needs to do these kind of things, because look at the environment right now.
Plastic has become an integral part of our daily lives, but every year some 8 million tons of it ends up in the ocean, and there it can be lethal.
The ocean is utterly in chaos. We have species of birds that are actually, if there's some scientists that did analysis on these birds where there was plastic located inside the eggs, meaning that the parents ate the plastic and then it was reproduced into their eggs. how many species are going extinct? They're saying bugs, and just it's baffling. But if we were to do something a little bit less every day, a good example is in Iceland, where they have banned products to having excess materials on it. So toothpaste cannot be sold in a cardboard box. It's only just the toothpaste itself. For instance, do something good for your home. Make your home more energy efficient, like caulking your attic hatch shut or weather stripping tape on your doors or windows, and just prevent air leaks from going through your home, which would then, if you're going to be consuming gas and electricity, which everyone does every single day, despite our actions, if we can reduce that amount, that's a little bit more that we're helping ourselves. Sorry, but we do not have a planet B. Seuss is right in this story. We need to reflect on ourselves because we are setting our children up for complete and utter failure. And there's people like myself who've decided not to have children because someone has to make sacrifices, basically. So if we all can do it, we all can fix this problem. And it's time to act now. Sorry, but I'm very passionate about this. So if you want to check out some more videos on books, take a look at the playlists or my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And check me out on my Patreon and Steam It. Just Seuss. And remember, guys, the trees have no voices. So let's do something about it.